Thanks for everybody that registered and is joining us this morning. And welcome to our Fire Up Weekly Wednesday webinar, sponsored by Newfields Ag, where we bring innovations in your fields. We encourage you to visit our full-service website at newfieldsag.com, where you will find a complete listing of our products, product descriptions, videos, use, application instructions, contact information for your local dealer, pricing, much more. Thanks to each of you again for registering and joining us today. If you have any questions during the presentation, place your question in the chat box or simply raise your hand and we will get it asked. I'm your host, Bob Kessler, a Vice President with Newfields Ag. Today's focus will be on one of our patented products. You see the patent holder and inventor sitting in front of you. Joining us to share his expertise on the Carrier and Carrier MA product is Brian Tully, CEO of Newfields Ag and Low Mutech, and he will explain the difference and some of those semantics during his presentation. Thank you, Brian, for joining us this morning and sharing your expertise on this new product for 2025.
You bet. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, everybody, for jumping on and spending the next half hour or so with us as we go through this. We're really excited about what this technology does. This is the first implementation of our second patent that we received on our soy protein-based products. It is a foliar wettable powder product that we developed. We've been working on it since 2017, 2018 timeframe, and we're able to achieve that. And we've got a product now that allows us to deliver a lot of the amino acid characteristics that we saw with our dust planter box inclusions now in a wettable powder as an inclusion. And I'll touch on some of those things as we go forward. The relationship between Newfields Ag and Low Mutech is one in which Low Mutech is the research and development side for the new products that we get a chance to work with. It allows us to bring in biologics, biotechs, micronutrients, and deliver them to farmers in a way that's innovative and doesn't require them to do investments in other pieces of equipment. They can actually just implement it right into the planter system or into their application system, whether it be a ground application or drone application. We're matching those things up with both as we go through this season. What I'll be presenting about, like Bob said, is our new Carrier product and the Carrier MA product. And the MA stands for the microalgae inclusion side. And we've partnered in this product with a company by the name of Sargon to include their microalgae product into the product to give us that the enhancements that we'll be talking about today. Let me go ahead and get this started and start my presentation here so we can go and share my appropriate screen. Once again, appreciate everybody being with us. And our whole goal with this is to be more of a fountain than a drain on your time and energy. That's been a focus. Bob introduced this to us as we went through our training here over the last, I guess since last December, trying to make sure that we can provide more information and help you grow in your business and help the farmers grow as they move forward. So the biggest piece for us as we continue to develop new products and work with technology. Now, Microsoft is battling me here. This is fun. So as we move through, we look to develop products that fit into our full season wheel that we introduced last year. We have products, and the ones that we'll be talking about today can be used at post-emerge as well as to help with the foliar application. And we'll continue to develop this product also into the pre-plant side as we work to develop a seed treatment that is protein-based that allows us to do the inclusions of this biology and just like the microalgae side, but other biologies as well, and deliver the amino acids right to the plant. We've seen the benefits, and you've seen other people as they develop products look to try to push amino acids into their products. Ours comes with it naturally as we build the products out. And I'll be touching on which one of those we have as we move forward. The biggest thing is that we want to look at ways that the science and technology that we have available to us through Newfields Ag and the partnerships we have with Lomutech and other companies is that more modes and products on an acre improves the profitability opportunities for our farmers. Especially in years like this that we're going into, we start looking at ways that we can be more efficient at what we're doing. Every farmer is trying to figure out ways to generate more net revenue per acre. The conversations about winning yield contests and stuff still happen and need to be focused on those. But in times like this, it's a matter of trying to be more efficient about what that does. And so as we start looking to include things and we start looking at ways that we can work on helping farmers do that, we developed a product by the name of Carrier. And Carrier is our wettable powder. It's packaged in 80-acre, 10-pound boxes. We recommend 2 ounces per acre of this material be mixed into a blend. And what this allows us to do with the experiments that we've had and what we've looked at here recently is that we've seen more efficacy of the active ingredient that we've placed into it. This product by itself is strictly our soy protein, the amino acids that are built into that product. It does not include any other microalgae or any other biological product. And we've been able to enhance the materials that get included with that so that we can continue to see the products and perform better. The active ingredients that we're included with, we're enhancing that material as we go into all the applications. The really cool thing that we did last year is that we did some testing down in Southern Illinois with Jared Gruel, one of our BDMs down there, and he was able to see some results that I'll show you in some pictures coming up where we had included it in a herbicide application. And on that herbicide application, we were able to take down some of the weeds that are showing up as resistant to the active ingredients, some of the active herbicides. What we've seen by being able to do that is that our amino acids are taken into the plant through the top of the leaf surface. So, and whenever other products that you put down, the adjuvants will actually remove that waxy coating off the leaf to try to force things into the plant. Our amino acids don't have that effect. We're able to get into the plant and much more efficiently than what you can see with the other chemistries that are out there. At a very low inclusion rate, we can be included right into the mix. We've not seen any antagonism with them. That's what drove us then to look at doing the inclusion of the microalgae piece, because the microalgae piece can help us with some of the other features as well. But looking at ways that we can increase the efficacy and give the growers a way to be more efficient at what they're already doing. We are all struggling with ways to control some of these weeds that are showing up as resistant. In this picture that Jared supplied with us, this is some of the things that he and I were talking about back in the summer. And he said, Brian, you're not going to believe this. And he took this, and you can see from this picture that it was about basically 12 hours later, it was sprayed. You go out there and you can already see on this particular water hemp that you can see the striations that are happening where you know that the active ingredient and the chemistry has actually been pushed through into that plant. So you're going to see that, the desiccation be happening. This is what he saw over and over again as we went through. And comparing that to the areas where we didn't have the Carrier improved with it, you irritated the plant, you didn't kill it. And so with these products and being able to include them in there, the next picture here looks at it a little bit more as you look at the premix herbicide that he was using and the fomesafen inclusion rate, looking at it for at 9:30 in the morning on one day, coming back the next afternoon, and look at what you see with the growing point desiccation as well. These are the types of things that we've been looking at. We'd seen this in 23 when we did testing early on. We saw it in 24, and I didn't share it with our BDMs when we first started putting this product out for testing last year, because I wanted them to go out and include it in their applications and come back to us with the actual, what they were seeing results in the field. And it was this repeated over and over again that we saw the efficacy of that. We had growers in Eastern Iowa that were using the product that we provided to them, and they would do their own sprayer, and then they had commercial sprayers in the same field, and they would split. And the commercial sprayer came in and said, okay, what's different with your side of the field versus my side of the field? Because your side of the field, the water hemp's dying, or the giant rag is dying, and on theirs it wasn't. And the only difference was the inclusion of the Carrier technology with the amino acids in there, getting it into the plant faster. I want to tell you that our Carrier product was not designed to desiccate biology or desiccate the plant. That's not what it does at all. All it does is allow the active ingredient, whether it be a herbicide, a fungicide, a pesticide, a fertilizer, a micronutrient blend, any of that stuff to get into the plant more efficiently. Because as we know, if the plant has to use energy to metabolize an additional product that goes into it, it's taken energy away from fruit production. And so what we've done is we've built these materials and we've built the carrier family is that we want this kind of results on the water hemp and on the giant rag to make sure that we see these things that we can start killing them more efficiently. So we remove that pest away from reducing our actual, inclusion, and that weed becomes something that inhibits the growth and the yield coming from this field. This is just another picture, same kind of herbicide activity. And this is where you see the plant showing that, obviously this plant's dying, and you've got this once again, next day, we're seeing this kind of activity. And these are not small. These are not like we're going out there. These are, I think what Jared and I talked about, these are way off label, right? And so you're looking at these things too, as we move forward, but you can see the desiccation starting to happen. And the only difference is the inclusion of that 2 ounces per acre, up to 2 ounces per acre of the carrier type product. We've seen this kind of efficacy over and over again in our applications. And the reason that we like it is because it maintains the amino acids that we have within our system. Once again, when we start looking at the materials, sorry about that, when we start looking at our protein-based materials that we have, we always use these 16 key amino acids and what they do and what they help. Obviously, with the amino acid and the abiotic stresses and the oxygen precursors that we're able to get done, the things that help with plant cell membrane support and moving materials back and forth, the things that we saw with dust early on, we see enhanced by doing it through our carrier product, giving us the anti-stress piece, the cold tolerance. Whenever you start doing those things, what that does whenever we go into the plant, once again, is just helping with stress mitigation. Once again, we want to put something into the plant that's going to carry the material in as efficiently as possible so the plant doesn't have to metabolize that, or it carries it into the target pest, in this case, the giant rag and the water hemp. Whenever you carry it into that plant, that the plant brings it in and then realizes that the material that is there to terminate it is included in that as well. And so that's what we've seen as we've gone through these. And once again, the materials and the reason we work on these is to give enhanced nutrient uptake, the increased stress tolerance, as we talked about, the improved photosynthesis. So we want to be able to stay green longer, right? We want to be able to have the ability to take the sun in and go through our process to have more growth, to have a healthier plant, to be able to stabilize and maintain the products and the growth and the sugar production into the actual yield, into the combine, and then into the bin that we have for selling. The other piece of it that we see is that protein synthesis piece, so that whenever we do come back in with and do a side dressing or we do a top dressing of an additional product, we get the ability of the plant to be more efficient as it runs through that whole process. Efficiency is the key in this as we go in, because as we start looking at these new technologies and bringing them into the process, it is very key that we don't disrupt the process of nutrient flow and the plant to be able to sustain and withhold from the outside impacts it can have, both on chemistry impacts as well as insects and other pests that come into it. You'll hear this product a lot, or this concept a lot from us going forward, the Focus 5 for 25 concept. One of those materials in our Focus 5 group is the Carrier MA. And the Carrier MA is our same carrier product, except it's a little darker in color because we included in a microalgae product with that. The microalgae, like I said, in this particular product is a Sargon-based product. Sargon's a company that we've been working with for the last couple of years and doing research. We really like what it does, because it builds on the carrier-based material and allows us to be able to do and obviously, just like we saw with the carrier, enter into the plant, be more efficient with that, improve the soil fertility piece, make those, the soil rhizosphere and around that seed be more active and more available to the plant. The abiotic stress, right, and enhancing the plant's ability to be able to take that stress and metabolize it through, once again, trying to make it as efficient as we can. And then the bio-inclusion carrier, whenever we go to put that into a material, we want to make sure that we don't have any additional agitation or things that are required. What we've seen with this material, the carrier and the carrier MA, and you can talk to your BDMs about this, but our recommendation is that you pre-slurry it and then throw it in, because when you fill the carrier MA, and remember, you can touch and feel the Dust and Dust Plus products and the carrier products. When you feel the carrier product, it's going to feel very gritty. And what we did is we basically took the dust particle and just opened it up, because we wanted there to be more pores, more availability of the nutrient of the water to be able to get in there and make that into a solution. And so as we did that, it made it into, you can actually feel the difference between the two products. Because I got asked early on, well, why don't you just do dust as a slurry? Well, we can. It takes a long time to get it in there. You're talking 8 to 10 minutes of agitation and stirring and being there and actively doing it. And the thing that we've done with Carrier and Carrier MA is we've made a product that you put it in a 5-gallon pail, you throw the water in, you stir it up, and you have a product now that can be poured through your cheminductor or poured into the top of your sprayer or poured into your shuttle, and you're ready to go because it goes into that suspension. We really don't get a solution out of this. It becomes more of a suspension, but the particle shapes and size, we don't see any plugging of the nozzles. Matter of fact, we had comments coming back from the sprayer operators, that same thing we saw with dust, that it removes the talc graphite from the surfaces. We see the same kind of thing with that when we use the carrier piece, that we have to work. What we're working on this year is our application rates within the drone process to make sure that we can get them down. When you're talking, that 2 gallon an acre or 1.5 gallons an acre, well, how do we include that in whenever we're doing 2 ounces at 10 to 15 gallons an acre? What does that look like for the inclusion rate to be able to get that in and see the same kind of benefit as we go through? We've seen excellent results with it. We've seen of any of the active ingredients, because we want this to be a piece of what you're doing, because we're building to the next year. How do we do what we can do to make sure that as we're growing this crop, that we put things on to help that with the stability of the soil, so that we can have the nutrient uptake and be able to grow these things forward, and then not get in the way of the degradation that's happening of the stalk residue and of the soil profile. We can continue to build that. That's where we see putting the MA piece, giving us the microalgae piece, giving us some addition to that that's going to be very beneficial and help us as we continue to grow this product mix and we continue to move forward. We want to make sure that the stability of that soil profile, the biologics, the biotechs that we're using help maintain that and give us more activity longer in the season, so we can have more of that degradation, making the nutrients that are in that soil profile or even in that stalk that's degrading be more available to the plant sooner, and we can see a yield benefit from that. Because once again, as we've talked through this over the last couple of weeks, the synergies of what we do and how we do it. We literally want to go to that 2 + 2, giving us 5 piece of this, right? We want to look at what can we do to stabilize and grow these things. And we've got companies that are looking at the fact that as you do something on the seed, you can then build the system so that we can do something in the planter box. And we're the worldwide leader in the planter box technology. We've gone out there and innovated and brought things forward that have been consistent with this, where we don't desiccate the biology and we allow the seed treatments and the technology that are included with that to be the key component and the key operating factor of that. And we really like how that's working. We like the benefit that we're seeing as we continue to move forward, because it gives us as Newfields Ag the opportunity to put together systems and packages that match what each individual farmer is doing on their farm. If we can build that together and match in what you're doing on your farm and what your customers are coming and asking for, that's what we're trying to build as we go forward with this, because the products really do matter to us. And we want to make sure that as we roll these products out, that we're protecting, obviously, the environment, cleaner, safer, greener. The products that we're developing are soy-based. That's our focus, because of that protein composite that we know and is consistent for us. And we figured out how to work that through. And that's what we're doing as we build these things. You'll see us continue to be more efficient in that profile, continue to look to answer questions that are coming up from our farmers, and that they come to us via our dealers and distributors coming back and saying, hey, here's a question we've been asked. Can we answer that? And how do we do that through your system? We're heavily focused, obviously, at Newfields Ag on the Dust Plus, the Carrier MA type products going forward, because that's where we've seen our best work. That's where we've seen our focus be the strongest. But we also have liquid products that are available too. So as you're talking to your BDMs, as you go to newfieldsag.com, you start looking at the technologies, you'll see there's many ways that we can address these things. There's products that are available that can be beneficial through a lot of the different processes that we do, no matter what your farming operation is, no matter what it looks like as we move forward. And we look forward to working with you and continuing to grow this business. So thank you for that overview of these two products. We're very excited about what they're going to do. We're very excited about how we can add them into a system that continues to grow and give the plant and give the farmer a better return on his investment dollar, especially in the year like we have this year, where the dollars spent are going to be heavily scrutinized. This is one of those products that makes the materials that you're including into those applications more efficient and work and be a better response to what you're spending your dollar with. So thanks for your time. I'll be more than willing to take any questions that we have now and answer any of those questions.
So Brian, you talked about using it as a wettable powder as a foliar. Can you talk about also the benefit of using it in a liquid in furrow as well?
You bet. The thing that we've seen with this, I want to remind everybody that the soy protein that we're using, if you're taking notes on a piece of paper, it's the same protein that is used on paper to keep it so that the ink flows over the top of it, and that the actual materials itself don't stick together. So it seeks coating. And what we've seen with that is that by including that material into even an in-furrow application, we're seeing the fact that it coats the areas, and it's there for delivery of the technology better. We see that the amino acids, when they're put into that soil profile, similar to what we do with our dries, that we're feeding that rhizosphere, we're feeding that biology much more efficient than you see without it being in there. The amino acids that a lot of people add to products to try to enhance, once again, it's inherent with our products. And so you see the benefit of the additional amino acids. And as you start pulling apart those 16 key amino acids that we look at, the more that we learn about the research about those products and things that have been done years before we sat down and started developing Dust, the research done on those things, it makes it more and more evident all the time that the inclusion of those amino acids feed the plant all the way through the cycle. Even if they're gone from the soil profile in 28 days or less, that the plant itself has been able to take those things in and make that plant more efficient because of the ability of the amino acids to make it. I use the example of chocolate, right? It thinks that it's taking in chocolate, and in essence, it's taking in whatever the active ingredient is, and you're seeing the benefit of that go forward. We've not seen anywhere yet that we've run into oh, you've applied way too many amino acids. We've not seen that issue. Now, what we're also balancing is making sure that when we mix it with and blend it with active ingredients, that we don't get to a point where we're detrimental in our active ingredient that we add with it. But as we start looking at stacking these things, going to an on-seed treatment, going to a planter box treatment, going to a foliar, and then going to a stalk degradation or soil remediation type application, our goal is to how do we get it into that system, whatever that system is, more efficiently. And we've seen the inclusion of the amino acids give us the ability to get it into that ecosystem much more efficiently. No other questions. I appreciate everybody being here. Well,